Submissions and keeping your weight. Chokeouts.
Oh, chokes. So chokes are really great. So one conversation we had was what is superior, chokes, or I don't even think you guys asked what's superior.
No.
I would say chokes are superior to submission though. Why? Because a strong man can bully his way out of a joint lock. Somebody might even accept a joint lock.
Like take the broken arm, just
Take
get a
the
superior
broken
position?
arm to get a superior position. Some people, and this is competition, but then also think of it in a self-defense situation.
Oh, yeah.
The person breaks their arm, they can still go out after you with the other limbs. Maybe you break their legs and they're just like,
And even in what we do, if we need to give up our arms so we can get the killing blow, then we will.
Yeah. So there's submissions. I like to think of them as like chess pieces, or joint lock submissions. Chess pieces you're taking off the board, right? But you're not at checkmate yet.
Right.
Checkmate would be your chokes.
Oh, okay. So that's the checkmates are the chokes, and all the other joint locks are just removing pieces off the board.
Yeah.
Well, because in your head you just broke the wrist, so there's that bishop, you broke the...
Yeah, exactly. Right? And even when it comes to movement, right? So if you're on your back right now, and this is one thing we were mentioning before is feet on hips, distance management, right? So we're also learning to use our legs and our feet as distance managers.
Because we're really trying to avoid that part where you're taking pieces off the board or even going to checkmate.
Exactly.
Okay.
Right? So if you utilize your hips, remember, I can touch your head when your knees are past your hips. When your knees are at your hips, I can touch your head. And when you activate your butt up off the ground, now you're mobile and dynamic.
Oh, so
right?
you roll off back? Okay.
Yeah, you're working off your shoulders.
Oh, I see.
Right? So, pieces off, I'm going to take off the board. Right? His feet are like the pawns, right? These are going to be easy to remove, but they're also really dynamic because they can do a lot of things.
Right, it can come back.
And can get kicked, I can get up, kicked in the head. You can even just use this to keep, like if I'm going to throw this punch, you can stop my arm with your leg. I would always try to keep one foot on the hip.
Oh, I see, one hip.
And then this one you just use to keep me from coming through.
And then reset.
You can even like bait me into a submission here, like into a triangle choke, right? Just by letting me come in. So there's a lot of different things you can set up with your distance
So the
managers.
feet really become hands at this point. Like very versatile in that sense.
Yeah.
Oh, no wonder you guys practice so much on your back.
Exactly. So pieces I want to take off the board, right? As I'm working into my submission, your feet, right? So if you keep your pressure on my hips, I'm going to use pressure and redirecting pressure to get your hips off of me.
Ooh.
I mean your feet off your hips, right? So like here I'm like feeling where your pressure is and what you're doing with your hips. And even this little movement with what you're doing with your feet, I'm just following that with my hips. Now I can redirect pressure and go in whenever I want.
How do you recover from that though, as me being on the bottom?
Great question. So in jiu-jitsu, our main movement we do off of our back is shrimping.
Oh.
So I'll show you how to shrimp real quick. So shrimping is on our backs, the basic one we learn. We bring both feet to our butt, and then you choose one side. So I'm going to either bring it all the way to, what is this, my right hand, my right butt cheek, or my left butt cheek. I'm going to push off and turn to my side, and then I'm turning my body into like a 7 or, you know, L or V, whatever.
Some shrimp shape.
Yeah, so you're pulling yourself in. And what that does is, like, try to do it, just keep moving.
Both feet.
Just keep moving, there you go. Right, so you can create distance by pushing yourself back off your feet, right? You can also create angles, right? So not just pushing myself back, so this would be creating distance. Maybe I want to create an angle, right? So now I'm moving myself off to the side.
Okay.
Right? There's all different ways to shrimp. You can even get yourself back up into a standing position off of that shrimping motion.
Wow.
So that's how you move when you're on your back.
So in anticipation of that,
Yeah.
from here,
right?
Yeah.
So if I get your feet off my hips,
Right.
you put your feet back to the floor, shrimp, and then get one foot to my hip, and and then bring another foot to my hip. Yeah, and square back up,
Huh.
just like that.
Oh. I
Yeah.
learned something, guys.
Okay.
Now I feel like we're gonna move on to something else.
Yeah, so we wanted to go over chokes,
Yeah,
right?
we do.
So my favorite choke is the rear naked choke. It's a high percentage choke from for MMA positions. Right? There's different ways I can set it up. Just want to get you to your back any way I can, and then Nate has luxurious hair, so it's always difficult training with men with long hair or women. Right? This is the position. I'm gonna grab his shoulder, extract my hand. I like to bring my hands together, and then you can even just finish it from here. Head, chest pressure, and
You know what the scary thing about that is? Is it the moment you try to tense up your body to fight back, because instinctively you just want to push away, it tightened this up so much more.
this versus
So trying to relax through that is, how long does that take?
well, you have to. Quincy Gracie was really good at it.
Yeah.
And he practices a lot of breathing and yoga. And it is kind of like this weird, you have to find specific places in your body to tense, and then specific places in your body to relax. But if the choke's on, the choke's on. Like,
Right.
you're not going to be able to finish it. So if you put me in the rear naked choke, right, I have to find a specific part of my body. Like the way you have it now, it's pretty tight.
Yeah.
So very difficult for me to just finish this just by breathing and relaxing, right? But keep it, right? So go ahead and apply pressure. Now I'm going to show you how to actually finish the choke. Because you can see, like, go ahead and do what you're doing. Like, it's putting pressure on me, but I'm like, okay. This is difficult, but it sucks, but I'm not necessarily going to sleep. Now you see how I'm positioning my body?
Yeah, you're starting to turn.
No, I can get it out.
Okay.
But that's just because I know where the pressure is
Right.
and where it's not and where it needs to be.
Well, no, because yours, I felt the forearm more here
Yeah.
in the throat. Especially because the way you're reaching behind me.
Yeah, that wasn't a complete rear naked choke. I forgot what that choke is called. I think it's some
more of a
MMA.
forearm choke.
It's an MMA guy's name. I forgot his name, but there's different forms of it. So when you actually practice the rear naked choke, we know that the carotid arteries are on both sides of the neck, right?
Yeah.
So we want to put pressure on these, right? You can feel like pressure just me doing this.
Oh yeah, just
Right?
blood flow to the brain.
But you still have an out, which is like if you just went backwards, now you're out of the choke, right?
Yeah.
So I have to put some sort of wall behind you, right? So if I did like just a typical choke here, right? And now you try to go back, you can't. And it's more likely that I'm going to choke you.
Right.
But these are not as strong as my whole body.
And I can grab fingers.
Right? You can grab fingers, you can grab toes. So I'm going to position my hand in the same position of his neck. So this bicep is going to cut off that carotid. My forearm is going to cut off that carotid. And my whole body, utilizing my back, is going to be the wall that prevents you from going back.
That's what I was missing.
Yeah.
Got it.
So, and I need to put pressure in, and I'm even going to extend you out because this and staying tight like that will be your defense. Does it make sense?
Yeah.
Right? So I'm going to come into my rear naked choke. Now I'm in position, right? Now when I start to apply the choke, I'm driving myself forward and then coming back. And I'm going to count down to 10.
She didn't even start 9.
I was kind of already counting. But yeah. The reason why you count down from 10 is because
No.
Not like joint locks.
I started feeling like my vision went blurry.
Yeah.
My vision just went real quick. Oh, that was intense. Okay, hold on. I think I had a brain fart. It's lack of oxygen, folks. I'm trying to breathe. Wow, that was crazy. Chokes in the morning. It's like coffee. How often do you have to train something like this to get comfortable with it? Yeah.
In the morning, we did it a lot.
Really?
I remember it was like several months. It was just I would train in the morning, and then it was like, oh yeah, we're doing key chokes today, bow and arrow chokes today.
Well, what if I do have my chin tucked in and my shoulders up? How does that work then?
Yeah. So okay, so you put me in. So it works best when you're already trying to get in for the choke. But remember this: if you get in, you can turn the body to sharp, then you get the mandible choke.
Oh, there. Okay.
Yeah. So it's very difficult. But when you're here, you want to start to be able to defend the choke before they get their arms together.
So it's when this is happening.
Yeah. So you're going to try to keep this arm low.
I see.
Right. And now. Yeah. So this is kind of the better than having it completely
right here
all the way through.
Right.
But as the person's coming in for the choke, it's like how we defend here. Right now you're already low. Now I'm out.
I'm holding on to it.
Now you're holding on to me for no reason.
I'm scared of you. That's why. This is fear.
That's what usually happens. That's usually what happens. People who are new, they grab you.
What about on your back? What other defenses do you have there?
Yeah, so so learning how to create a guard. So you guys have a guard in martial arts, right? With your sticks?
Kind of. Our guard is to hit the guy. That's kind of like our most basic idea.
That's defenses and offense, right?
We're kind of aggressive that way.
Yeah, but there has to be some like positioning that you have that's
well, worst case scenario.
Coming into you.
Worst case scenario, we put up a guard with our stick.
Yeah.
But we use that more of a wedging tool.
Well, let me see what your guard looks like.
Do we have a guard with us?
Yeah, have the stick in front of you.
Yeah, with the sticks in front of us. That's pretty much.
You can use. We have some sticks over there. I'm not sure if you guys brought any sticks.
No, we didn't. But essentially, the idea is that you have something like this. The stick is in the way, and then it's just more of a gauge. So if it does happen, we can move either to the side. So if this were to be reminiscent of the sticks itself, then we have to do.
So keep that, and just keep that frame.
Okay.
So that is what we would call a frame.
Oh.
I'm not sure if that's what you guys call it, but it's a frame.
Well, this is just indicative of the stick itself. So we create these angles. So we're here either behind our weapon, so it's in front, or here, and then depending on which way we go. But for fighting purposes, it's more just get out of the way and hurt the guy.
Yeah, right. Which is exactly what but you would still have that.
Yeah. Same idea. It's like, oh crap, you want to block something. If something's coming, you will see right away. You want to put your hands up.
So this defense that you have, this frame that you created, do the same thing but on your back.
Oh.
Right here.
Oh,
exactly.
okay.
Now do the same thing but with your legs too. Yep. Right. Now you can take now you have these feeders, right? I also think of these legs as sights on a gun.
Oh, I see.
Right? Okay. So if you have both your arms and your legs are sights on a gun, you keep me within your sights the whole time. Now instead of just strengthening with your foot, we do this rocking chair thing. So if I'm here, sights on my gun, and you move left and right, I'm gonna always do this to keep you in my sights. Right? And anytime you come close, my feet come up. Boom. Right? Sights on a gun, one is keeping somebody within this, I don't want to keep you within this kind of field of vision here. Boom. I call it my bow, my hip bow. Like I have my knee hip bow, my hip bow, my shoulder and elbow hip bow. Right?
So you're really just controlling that specific space, whether you're standing or on your back.
If somebody comes outside of my space, outside of my line of sight, they can attack me.
Right, you just effed up real bad.
Yeah, so I always want to keep them within this. And then you're just going to figure out how you move in jiu-jitsu, which is like your shrimping and your rocking chair stuff. So now if you're on top of me, in that position that I had you in, like the pin position, we can do it from mount too. So this is kind of, you're already past my leg defense, right? So go ahead and use mount on top, boom, right? I'm gonna come here, get, what is this frame here?
Oh, I see.
Frame, right?
And then pull
Now I
out.
have my frames, right? I have your arm too.
Right.
But I have my frames, and my knees are in front of my hips, so you can still kind of touch me, but not as powerfully as if you were closer. Right? So any place where I can create a frame, whether it's here, whether you're at my closed guard and I'm here, creating a frame to prevent you from coming in, and I'm always trying to manage this inside space here.
Oh, so on my side too, I want to create that frame.
Yeah, and get into my inside space. But I don't want that. So I'm always going to be managing with my shrimps and getting my frames back inside your frames.
Oh, you're a tough girl. Alright, I think I'm done, guys. And you do this every day, huh?
Yeah, you were my third session in a row. I did Muay Thai, wrestling, MMA, fish, and then...
Alright, so this is our third session today. From striking, wrestling, jiu-jitsu, and two jiu-jitsu then.
Dude, that was just so amazing to see him get slapped around like that. Ragdolled all over the place. He went all over this mat.
Yeah.
Dude, oh, I know
The mat's clean.
Another reason why we have our students.
I went in.
Yeah.
Okay, so I've always tapped out early because I don't like getting hurt. But because she said something about training, I had to let it go. And me tapping, that was because my eyesight was going cloudy.
But like you realize now you're working through that part where we talk about the mental panic of just like, oh shit, I'm in a bad position, I need some tap.
Right.
Versus like, no, let me calm down and think my way through this tight situation. Is there a way out?
I try to stay as
that
calm
happened
as I
so
could.
fast too.
Yeah.
It came up on your own fast. Like, oh, nope, I'm good right here.
Yeah, I tried to be relaxed, and you saw my body. I was like, okay, relax. No, before you pass out.
That was just totally amazing. I have a newfound respect for Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu because I've always felt that being on the ground fighting like that, especially on the street, combative, that their buddies would start kicking on you, and then you're locked into the one guy, making it difficult for you. How could you use that? Somebody's kicking you in the head while you're taking care of the guy.
But half of it is getting out of it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, it happened. I'm not going to say it doesn't happen. I'm sure it happens. And we would do, I remember in one of my schools, we did fun drills where we did like team up drills. Three people would try to come after you. You have to do jiu-jitsu to keep yourself safe.
We do that with a stick.
Fun.
Yeah.
2 against 1 and whatever.
Yeah.
It gets to be fun, but again, like you said, being on the ground like that, committing to the one guy while you have other people floating around.
So the mentality is very similar in the way that they utilize space.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Because if you're aware of it, then the moment you notice, oh, someone's outside of my range,
right?
Okay, I need to hit the.
Yeah, exactly. Obviously, we don't want to put ourselves on the ground where there's multiple people around us, and we don't want to put ourselves down on the ground. Period. No matter what in a street fight. But the point is, if you find yourself,
then you've got all the tools that you can use. I get it though, and like I said, and you found respect for the ideas behind it, especially after what I've seen today.
Dude, that's intense, I mean,
I've never seen it this close, and that's why I've always had my reservations about it. Now that I'm seeing it and hearing what you explain, okay, it makes sense.
I quit. You know how I usually test some of the people that we have on?
Not today. Well, hey folks, this has been an incredible comedy conversation with me, Rick,
and me, Naeem,
and our very special guest, Vonique Stricklen. She's awesome.
Yeah.
Hey, look for her on Facebook. She's also everywhere
Physique,
else.
Magnifique.
Instagram.
She's there. We're gonna put a link on the channel.
Shout out to Kelly.
Yeah.
Kelly. Oh yes, this is Kelly's design right here. Zoom in on that, Rick.
Yeah.
And
it's a cut.